So if you look at the last several decades here, Dean, is this crisis compared to anything you've seen in the past, or how is it different?
Now, I have had a lot of past. I marketed my first pig in 1957.
Wow.
So I've had to go back across the decades, but what I can say is I think there's some similarities to 1998, but before I get there, the plant shackle space problem at the present time is not new to us. Typically, it would tend to hit us in the fourth quarter of the year, and we've been battling that for years. But the similarities to 1998 were actually discussed by Joe Kearns in a recent discussion he had, where he indicated that coming into the end of 2020, that would rival 1998 in that our ability to harvest the pigs was significantly overrun and depressed domestic uptake. And he points out in particular two similarities. Just as in 1998, both Christmas and New Year's fall on a Friday. And so those days are out for harvest. Thursday will probably be slow, and Saturday may not be the best. And that will worsen the backlog. And the problem is, it just as it did in 1998, will extend the severe financial loss. So that's the one time where I think we've seen this type of stress.
Interesting. Brent, Mark, there any comments from your experience over the crisis in the last few decades?
So, like Dr. Boyd, was personally involved in the industry and trading through the 1998 crisis, and there are many similarities, and it felt very, very similar. I would tell you personally, this feels more extreme and more poignant. As bad as that time period in our history was, this feels worse. And unfortunately, I don't think we are still past the worst of it. I think we are, as an industry, very focused on the revenue side of the equation today, and making sure we can get as many pounds of pork harvested and paid for our producers as possible. The flip side is you wouldn't think today that you'd be worried about feed costs and the cost side of the equation, but from a very cyclical and seasonal perspective, we may be entering a time period where we're going to see higher feed costs in terms of corn, meal, and for those that can use wheat and wheat byproducts and those kinds of things, you may see those products trend higher over the course of the next 6 months. And so we may be facing a double whammy, so to speak, in terms of lost revenue, but also an appreciating cost complex over the course of the next 6 to 12 months.
Very good. Any comments there, Brent, before we move forward?
Yeah, I'd say, I was in graduate school in the 90s when that was occurring, what Dean and Mark are talking to, so was somewhat insulated from that. But definitely, since then, this is definitely the most challenging that we've seen for a long period or long horizon. So making sure that we care for the people and the talent that are within our industry and continue to move the industry forward. So good learning experience for us all. Tough one to learn, but.